watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, and this is the earnings special conversation where we're going to be talking about IREDA's earnings with the top management. Remember, IREDA has reported a 48.7% jump in the fourth quarter of net profit of 501 crore rupees as well. The net interest income has also risen by 47.3% to over 800 crores for this quarter of ending March. What we've also seen is that the company has reported a 27% growth in its loans sanctioned during this quarter, now to 47,453 crore rupees. Disbursements has also increased by 20% year on year, and the company's loan book outstanding at the end of the quarter now stands at 76,250 crore rupees, a growth of 28%. To 59,968 crore rupees in the corresponding period. Now, to help us understand what has really went on into the contribution of these strong set of numbers this quarter and what's the outlook, we're now joined by a very special person, Mr. Pradip Kumar, the CMD of IREDA, is now joining us on the program. Warm welcome to you, Mr. Das. Good to have you with us yet again. A stellar set of numbers coming in for you, especially with Q4 also coming in on a strong note. You've ended FY25 on a strong note as well. First up, help us understand what have been the key contributing factors for this quarter, sir.
Very good afternoon, Sakshi. Thank you very much for inviting in this talk. First of all, you are asking what is the key strength or something. We have been doing since last 20 quarters, last 5 years, continuously quarter on quarter we are growing. And if you see the numbers, 27% CAGR last 5 years, and year-on-year growth also 28%.
Yeah.
And if you see our disbursement in this year, the growth is only 28%, 20%, which is lesser than the percentage terms earlier. That means we are not only focusing on growth, we are focusing on corporate governance. And if you see the corporate governance, today we are benchmark in the country. We are the first government company in the country who published audited result in 15 days. We are the first banking, non-banking company in the country who published the result in 15 days. And if you see last year we did in 19 days, prior to that we did in 25 days, before that around 30 days. So continuously, consistently, we are improvising our process, policy, procedures with respect to compliance, governance, and reporting the result as fast as possible. As a listed entity and regulated entity, if we are publishing the full audited result almost every quarter since last 3-4 years, that speaks our inclination or commitment towards self-good governance approach. That is not a mandatory activity for any corporate in India to do every quarter full audit. But why we do? More full audit means more sanitization of documents, reports, and information. And since we are listed since almost 1.5 years, and our price is, our stakeholders has taken a lot of confidence in us and have a lot of trust in us, and we are more responsible and accountable for that. If you see the business numbers, what growth we have exhibited, and we have already earlier submitted to stock exchange our plan till 2029, tentative plan, which has indicated around 27% of CAGR for next 5 years also. So therefore, what we are planning, that is fully synced with what we have already established. And it is not important to grow the numbers. The way we are going, that is also important. When I talk the way, that is our culture, that is our working compliance, governance culture, that they are what we have excelled to. And in the time to come, considering the India's plan of 485 gigawatt of RE by 2030, almost if you see last year 29.6 gigawatt capacity addition has happened against 19 gigawatt earlier, and before that 15 gigawatt. So in the country, capacity expansion is happening, and we being the largest pure play green finance company in the country and the most matured agency in this space, almost 38 years we're working, and almost for 30 years, 25 years to 30 years, we have worked single-handedly financing in this space, majorly. So therefore, we have the expertise, we have the competence and capability, we have the demand. Only thing we need to augment our equity capital and all. We had infusion of equity by Government of India. Then we had IPO. Last year we had planned for QIP because of market condition we have deferred. So we are quite sensible to our investors also. We don't want to sell our shares at a throwaway price. So we had alternate mechanism for that. We went for PDI, perpetual debt, which is requirement for the crore. And we, in addition to that, in spite of not having QIP, through PDI we managed, and we have maintained a healthy crore of 17.7%. So all kind of mechanism, second like action plan or follow-up action for 1, 2, 3, we are having place. So therefore our growth sustainable growth is almost certain.
Absolutely. You did shed a lot of important highlights, something that has been the core competence and the kind of culture that you have developed within the company, and that's reflecting through your quarterly earnings year on year, quarter on quarter as well. You did talk about your QIP, which you have deferred. The board had approved 5,000 crore rupees through this exercise. What's the timeline that we are looking at now that things are improving? Do you think we can actually look at a sooner announcement on that front? The board has also approved of a plan of borrowing, sir, of about 30,800 crores for FY26. Could you give us a sense of how this will be taken forward? And what's the rate of borrowing that you will incur on raising these funds, sir?
See, as far as we are concerned, for us, equity is the only constraint. As I told, we have fair amount of experts or expertise in the company and who are working since decades, 1.5 decades of expertise. So therefore, hand-holding or inducting new people and orienting them and running the business is not a difficult task. Only concern with us is our equity and how best we can reduce our borrowing cost. As far as equity is concerned, since we are listed entity and Government of India, when we are not listed, they had infused. And now since we are competent to go to the market and raise on our own, so we have to resort to that route. So QIP of 5,000 crore, what our board had approved, that is in either one or multiple tranches. So certainly post our result, we had already earlier completed this roadshow, even overseas roadshow was also completed. So now with the new numbers, we can again rework on those things. And very soon, maybe in this quarter, most likely in this quarter, we need to have, because since 17.7 is the crore for us, we being a triple S stable rated agency, we need to ensure a healthy crore. So we have to have equity infusion. But having said this, one thing I can assure, we are not going to sell our shares at a throw price if people expect. Since we have already declared that we will be doing a QIP mode, and by and large, our investors, Government of India and retail investors are there. So took interest in between, and their interest is just keep on growing, coming down. That way they do. And what roadshow experience we had, fair amount of enthusiasm is there in the investor community to invest in IREDA because it's a pure green company. So while investing, they are achieving two objectives. One is the economic objective, which we have already executed, and having a name between 3 to 3.5, that is a very healthy name. And at the same time, ensuring the NPA almost around 1.5, that is also a healthy sign. Second, reporting the result fastest in the country, that is another healthy sign. So the investor looks at what kind of management and quality of management is there. They are quite confident with us. So therefore, very soon, with the new numbers, we will be revisiting, and we are quite confident we'll be selling through our QIP process very fast, most likely, but we'll take a call. Depending on the market condition, what kind of pricing it comes, then accordingly we may do in one or multiple tranches. That is what the government has approved for us. So that is one. And second, we had requested Government of India to consider our request for 54 EC allocation. Even Woodco has already been given, I think a couple of weeks back they are given. So we are confident hopeful that we will be getting that sanction very soon. The reason is we are working in pure play green finance and new and emerging where support is required, and we do not have any kind of support. So if the sector has to grow, IREDA has to grow very fast and very responsibly. So allocation of 54 EC, since we are having a very good sector investor sentiment support, we can fairly raise 54 EC capital gain bond also on our own. So that will enable our borrowing cost further down. Second, we have opened an office in GIFT City for which we have already received the consent to operate. So we have to only have our internal policy process procedure in place, and we have planned to do that in a fully IT mode. Today, our entire business is happening in fully IT mode, almost zero paper and negligible, near to zero visitor mode. We are doing our business in our business center. So that kind of setup we have set now, and we can do business by sitting anywhere in the world. That kind of system in place.
Okay, wonderful. So you briefly did mention about your asset quality. There was a slight blip in Q3. What's the outlook on the asset quality front, both on gross as well as NPA side? What do we foresee? How has it been in this quarter, and what do you expect for FY26?
If you see, our previous quarter NPA had gone up. Okay. And Now this quarter NPA has gone down. And if you see the total NPA also, it is not a very significant amount with respect to our loan book size and with respect to the sector where we work. See, when I'm very clear in this point that when you're lending to a project which is new and emerging, challenges are there. And I can guarantee if IREDA will not lend, nobody will lend in that space. Our ministry is dealing in the subject, new and renewable. So whenever it is new, challenges will be there. And if you take the statistics of 38 years, when we have financed more than 1.5 lakh crore, and our cumulative write-up in 35 years, despite it be a project loan, long-term loan, despite it is a new and emerging and all, our cumulative write-up is just around 215 crore. So that speaks how mature we are, how competent we are to handle the sector well. And when we handle, we take a fair amount of support and guidance from our ministry. That has been our key strength. So here in this space, even today, the kind of ecosystem what Government of India has built, policymaker, regulator, or lender and developer, all these four agencies are working in a well-balanced manner. So that is the reason the RE is growing very fast. And in the time to come, we are confident and hope the same ecosystem will be in place and our growth will be in a number will come automatically. Only we have to work in a disciplined and sustainable manner. What we have executed so far, we need to continue that.
Absolutely. Sir, also give us a sense of what were the kind of slippages, write-offs in the quarter gone by and the outlook on disbursals, sir.
See, slippages, if you see, it has not gone much. Okay. In fact, if you see last quarter, it has percentage terms come down. So this is absolutely insignificant as far as the slippages is concerned. The numbers and everything is available. The narrative, what I can share with you, we have a robust review monitoring mechanism in place. The moment account goes to SMA 0 or 1, we start taking actions. Whatever is there. And as I said, this sector is like that. Certain amount of problems will be there always. But we need to be very proactive in addressing those problems and challenges. We have to be proactive in financing and we have to be proactive in also prompt corrective actions as and when required. So both the things we do and we are completely different as far as the management approach is concerned. See, post our result, I do come and I answer all your queries and immediately we call our borrowers. On 26th, we have called them also. Every quarter we do all our borrowers meet. We meet them, we try to understand their concern, their challenge, maybe with respect to the project, with respect to the promoter, with respect to the state, with respect to the central policy or regulator's policy or rating agencies issues or our policies also. We sit with them, try to formulate a win-win situation with them. So that in last 4 to 5 years, we have overcome many challenges.
Fair point.
And we are confident
So,
the time to come.
Yeah, there's also this, kind of an understanding that most of the investors would want to really see something which has just come about yesterday, Gensol engineering. By way of that, is there any kind of an exposure on that? What is the kind of risk that you face and how are you going to be tackling this issue, sir?
See, as far as Gensol is concerned, we have around 650 crores of fund-based exposure of March 31st. And around 170 crores of non-fund based undrawn exposures and all. And as on date, first of all, I am clarifying to all our viewers, as on date, their account has not become NPA. Yesterday, post publication of our result, we have seen the SEBI's report on them. We have gone through the report. Prima facie, it appears a serious amount of corporate governance lapse is there, and it is leading towards kind of improper practice what they have done. We also, being a regulated entity from RBI, we have our investigation committee as per the RBI norm. Our team is already working with it, and team will come out very soon, the course of action. One thing I can assure, we will be taking the most appropriate action. If you look at today, like overdue around 80 crore is there. Against that, 60 crore we are having in the form of DSRA and FDs. If you want overnight also, we can take back immediately. And then our overdue will be hardly 20 crore. But whatever action we will take consciously. And what action I will tell, if I tell then my committee who is doing it, probably they will get influenced by that. So since they are doing, and it is a RBI-led policy for investigation and other things, we are doing, and whatever required for that, most appropriate, in the larger interest of company, sector, we will be taking the most appropriate action, and action will be very fast. Like we are publishing the result very fast, That is a corporate governance benchmark. Most of the answers take very fast.
Okay. Now on the outlook on FY26, tell us a few, sense that you could probably share on your AUM, on your profitability and margins. What do we expect?
When 20 quarter-on-quarter growth we have given, I think the statistical data is available. Even an ordinary analyst or investor can put those into their sample and they can forecast for the next 5 years. I am not required for that perhaps. But having said this, since 450 gigawatt is to be done, and almost the capacity addition, what used to be 2 years back or 1 year back, it is doubled or 1.5 times last year. So we believe, and our ministry has already announced that 50 gigawatt of capacity addition annually they are going to do. So fair amount of business opportunity is there. As far as IREDA is concerned, we need to only ensure augmentation of equity capital, either equity or PDI, whatever as per our mix, and optimizing the cost, etc. And then we need to keep on continuing our this kind of qualitative governance standards, or rather further improvise and further automation, so that what report SEBI gave yesterday, why we can do earlier also. So if we are a lender, and we need to do that. But if you see, this is a 38-year-old organization. We are dealing with the subject since 38 years. And in 33 years, we have financed, our loan book was around 23,000 crore. In last 5 years, we have added double of that.
Yeah.
1,000 books is there, somewhere around 500, 600 books. That is, if it is happening, it should not be a major concern. But only thing is that, how to prevent this kind of issues.
Yes.
Whatever, that kind of mechanism we will be again bringing into, and we will be improvising further our system mechanism. See, we have not been gone into any further new lending to them almost 7-8 months back.
Okay.
See, so therefore, it is not that key, and we do keep a watch when the account go to SMA 0 or SMA 1. So therefore, our team was already keeping a watch, working on it. But definitely, when this kind of report we are having now from the SEBI, that has strengthened our team. Team had already done some due diligence with respect to the course of action, what we are going to take in the time to come. And from this also, a lot of ideas and lessons we get. And we will be implementing for the future one. And as long as IREDA will be there, this new and emerging challenges we have to take, this kind of thing is going to happen. But how we handle, that is important. And if we see in 38 years, I'll again come back and repeat. 38 years, 1.5 lakh, more than 1.5 lakh crore we have financed. And cumulative write-off is just 215 crore. You will not find any project finance company of such a long term tenure lending who are doing, they are having this kind of statistics. And essentially again, 76% of our loan book is private sector. And in renewable, 80% of the developers are from private sector. And this 20% central or state CPSEs. Those, that is large hydro largely, and few are coming now in renewable. So by and large, private sector is leading this. So despite lending to private sector, despite lending to new and emerging, we have handled the thing. So therefore, we are confident in the time to come. See, having NPA is not a big thing, but having a mess in management, that is a big thing. So we have to take care how best we can address this, and how fast we get the information, and what first prompt corrective action we take, not definition of RBI prompt corrective action, spirit of prompt corrective action, course correction, what we do, that we will be doing. And by and large, our review monitoring mechanism is pretty strong, and we are strengthening day by day.
All right. Well, Mr. Das, it's always a pleasure to listen to you, and the way you're leading the company to higher standards and continuing with your corporate governance on this space. Thank you so much. That has been reflected in your earnings. So congratulations yet again, and hoping to see stellar numbers even in future, to speak to you once again in the next quarter. Thank you so much for being with us on this special broadcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
All right, viewers, we'll wrap it up at that with IREDA management clarifying the key reasons. supporting the sentiments as well as behind the strong earnings. He's also clarified on Gensol Engineering. No fresh loans were rolled out over the last 7-8 months. Mechanism is being put. So far, the account has not turned NPA, but everything will be done in an appropriate fashion going forward from here. We'll leave you at that with a lot of market coverage continuing on the other side of the screens. And of course, I'll be back at 3 noon for the closing action on Market Today. So stay tuned to that.